Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You are on KTN Sunrise Live. Now, just before we get into our next discussion, where we're speaking to Bishop Boniface Adoyo on why he wants to run for the senatorial seat in Nairobi, let's remind you that we have less than a month to go to the general election. Our second discussion now, right, on Sunrise Live, we are talking to Bishop Boniface Adoyo, who is running for the Nairobi senatorial seat, and he joins me this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for joining us today. Let's talk about why, in the first place, would you run for this seat?
Why? The church has been very active in promoting good governance in this nation. We've been praying, we've been doing advocacy, but doing that without participation, where decisions are made, we're finding we are the losers rather than the gainers in helping our people to participate in governance, to participate in lawmaking, to participate where decisions are made.
All right. And you then made the decision to actually be a part of the change and be a part of the governance that you're talking about. Tell us about the choice of the party as well.
Well, I chose the Labour Party because Labour Party is concerned about the welfare of the labourers in this city, who are the majority. Every other person in the city is a labourer, is a worker, and we're concerned about their welfare. They are the people who will turn around the economy of this city, and we want to move with them, go with them, empower them, and turn around the economy.
Okay, all right. Moving into what is required of the senator, what is it you bring to the table in terms of the job that is required of the Nairobi senator? What do you see as the areas that need fixing and working on?
There is a job description already that in section or article 96 that describes what the senator will do. One, it will represent the interests of the county. And two, that he will legislate, is a legislative arm of the government that will legislate laws touching the county. And the foundation is very vital for anything to work, for issues that concern Nairobi. For them to be corrected, you have to have laws and bylaws and policies that the city will build on. And then the oversight of state affairs. This is the first time that the state governors will be brought to accountability by the Senate. And then there is the resource allocation, equitable resource allocation of the Senate. Is a big job, and it requires a lot of oversight and integrity, because the resource allocation and their designated resources never reach there because of the middle corruption in between the allocation and the implementation of the projects.
Obviously laying out the functions of the Senate and of your position in that. Now, knowing that Nairobi, literally funds the economy of the country, 65% of the GDP is created in this city. When we talk about that, some of the areas that perhaps you would be looking to make sure that legislation is key, some of the areas that we would like to sort out where you think more funds will be required in terms of making Nairobi better than what it is.
Yeah, you're right that 65% of the national GDP is created by Nairobi. So Nairobi is a test case, is a very important county for the rest, is a model county for the rest of Kenya. And what is done in Nairobi, we're not just playing politics as usual. It needs seriousness and allocation of resources where they need to be. It needs, now, where do I plan to give this allocation? Having been in Nairobi for the last 46 years, I've seen the infrastructure not overlaid, but overstretched. Now the infrastructure does not grow with the population has not grown with the population of Nairobi. Infrastructure means transport, water, sewer system. The same sewer system that we inherited from the colonialists is what is running Nairobi now. No wonder the sewer bursts and all the floods that we get when it rains is a cry to that. And we have to do a completely new master plan of our drainage and sewer system, of our water supply, and it only needs legislation from the old bylaws, city bylaws, that you cannot get tap rainwater and use. And that's a bylaw in the city, that those laws need to be looked into and redone. And so we create bills and laws that will allow people to have the different sources of water, dams and tapping of rainwater and things like that, and redoing all the road and not the roads, the drainage system in Nairobi. You could say that places this city at a very low aim that we can do immediately. That can be done immediately. We can talk about healthcare, we can talk about women and youth, we can talk about security, which I have plans for it. Okay. Say security. Other places, and Nairobi being a model city for Africa, other places have increased security by citizen participation in reinforcing, law reinforcement. Now that is a very simple law that you bring onto the table and is approved, especially for Nairobi. Citizen participation in law enforcement. You don't need money. You don't need to pay them. There are citizens in this nation who are keen and are able to do that.
Okay, all right. And we'll talk about obviously community policing. Let me move away from the issues facing Nairobi and let's take a look at politics. Bishop, politics is a dirty game, and you are running with people who, according to the opinion polls, are quite popular. We have Mike Sonko, we have Margaret Wanjiru. Are you ready for what it may take when it comes to going out and campaigning? We've seen on a larger scale a lot of accusations traded by different sides from the different coalitions that we have in the country at the moment. And one would say, well, you're a bishop. Are you ready to, get down and dirty with the likes of them, or what will your campaign look like?
Well, politics is dirty because of the type of people who go there, and that doesn't come from anywhere. It comes from within. Now, when you have a dirty dress, you don't add dirt to it. You add omo to it. Well, when you have something dirty, you wash it. I'm trusting that I'm going to be part of that omo added into politics. But you talk about the crowd in the Senate seat. We want to weigh people by what they have done. Nairobi is too big to risk with experimentation, especially with the Senate. If they are going to experiment and hype politics, we are going to go back to where we have been, and 5 years is too long to waste. I'm telling Nairobi, 5 years is too long to waste on experimentation. These people who are running, they have been in parliament. They have never sponsored one bill to be debated. We have never seen them debating on any bill that was passed. We have never seen them stop some of the bills or some of the legislations that were meant for their own good. Where were they when the first thing the parliamentarians did, this past one, was to add themselves monies? Where were they when the last thing they did was to add themselves money? Either they were not there, either they were sleeping, or they were ignorant of what was going on.
All right, Bishop, some may say that voting for you is an experiment as well. These are people who, track record or not, are widely known because of being in politics and being in the political sphere. So perhaps you can tell people why you and not them, because some would say, well, we're experimenting with you. We know you're a part of SITAM, which is, you know, the biggest conglomeration of, you know, the Pentecostal church. Why you? Would you be an experiment?
I'm not going to the Senate as to experiment. What I have done for SITAM, taking SITAM from a single church to an international church. Now, the first thing I had to do was to formulate a vision for SITAM. The second thing I had to do, I had to make structures and systems that would run beyond me. I had to make laws and bylaws and policies that would outlive me. Now, once I had done that, then the whole thing can run on itself. I left it to somebody else who runs it, who should run with it. Now, there is no telling, none of those people have that track record. I have it, and I can replicate it to Nairobi because I have a passion for Nairobi. And if there is anyone in the race who has as much passion as I have and can do the job, I would leave it to them. But I don't see any.
Okay. What would your campaign involve? Give us perhaps a schedule of where we would see you, how you would be able to conduct your campaign less than a month to go to the March 4th general election. Will we see Bishop Adoyo, you know, out in the streets at a podium, having a rally? What's your strategy in terms of taking your message to the voters of Nairobi?
Now, my campaign strategy, which I don't want to sell, is person to person. I will move from place to place in every slum, in every crooks and cranny of Nairobi, telling people, look, don't experiment on this new seat of the Senate. We have seen them before. They promise a whole heaven on earth, but we have to be practical. What are we going to do for our people? Campaign time, I know, is time for lies, and that's why politics is dirty. I will not lie to anybody, but I will tell people Nairobi needs a change. This change, especially for the seat of the Senate, is too big to leave for experimentation, to leave politics as usual.
Right. So yours is more of a door-to-door personal campaign,
yes,
rather than the big rallies that we see being conducted by others. Bishop, as we close our discussion, just tell us about, you know, religion and politics and that mix and how it would work viably. We've seen other members, you know, of the clergy, men and women of the cloth. We've seen Bishop Margaret Wanjiru. We've seen Mutava Musimi. Some are happy with their performance, some are not. Some say it's very tricky to be involved, because we even have an SMS saying, have you left, you know, the church to specifically vie for this? A lot of people need to understand that you are no longer, you know, bishop,
yes,
in charge of SITAM.
I cannot serve two masters. As I said, people who hold on to this work and then do this, hold on to church and do that, the Bible is clear, you cannot serve two masters. I left the church in the hands of Bishop Oginde. I handed over. I felt that now I should serve the bigger constituency, which is Nairobians, and I will do one job at a time.
Okay, and in 1 minute, what do they expect of that job? Why are you different from all the others who are running in this field?
The difference comes in individuals, you see. Just because they have been there, I don't know what motivated them to go into politics. I know what motivates me, and I know my authority, my backing, is in God, is anchored in my faith in God and my trust. So I don't fear any man, because once you get there, you receive threats, because if you fight corruption, you'll be threatened. Corruption will fight back on you. Now, they get there and keep quiet because they fear. I mean, they say, what will happen to me? What will happen to my children? What will happen? I mean, if my life is in God's hands, I don't fear who threatens me. Unless they are not going to die, everybody is going to die. I don't fear death.
Absolutely.
And so I don't fear any threat at all.
Okay.
Now you talk about religion. Kenyans are religious people. And that is seen in our preamble, you know, acknowledging the supremacy of the Almighty God, the Creator. And that's our preamble. Come to our national anthem. God of all creation, bless us, bless this land. So, being religious, we need to see religion played in politics.
Okay, absolutely. A very good way to finish our discussion, talking about the place of religion in politics, the place of religion in society. His name is Bishop Boniface Adoyo. He is running for the Nairobi Senate seat on a Labour Party of Kenya ticket, saying he fears no one, and that's probably what makes him more than the others, saying that this is what he wants to do. He wants to clean up politics in this country. He's running for the Nairobi senatorial seat. Will you vote for him? You will decide in just less than a month. We're talking about that and talking about him. And the field may be crowded, but he is one of them, and he's saying he deserves your vote. That's it for Sunrise Live this morning. I thank all my guests, Bishop Boniface Adoyo, Moses Korea, talking to Onyango Lo, Martin Mutua, and Joshua Kemboy as well when we were talking about sports earlier in the morning. Has been a great show. Remember, as always, your tweets, hashtag Sunrise Live. Thank you so much for your time this Monday morning. We will see you again tomorrow bright and early. God bless you. Bye-bye.